doing a VSR video breakdown on Nathan Samaro. Um, this is some old footage of him that I got. He started with me sometime towards the end of November, beginning of December, and I didn't have a chance to test his velocity or anything like that, just because I didn't feel like it was smart for him to come in and start ripping down on throws. And they'd recently moved here, ironically, from the town where my first college was, Carson City, Nevada. So I got hooked up with these guys mutually through a coach from Western Nevada. So I was pretty happy to start working with them. But basically, this is the only that I have one more video after this that kind of shows his delivery prior to coming in and working with me. I also have a video that is of him before I kind of started to instruct him, that is video that I took, but we'll get to that here in a second. But basically, the biggest thing that I noticed about Nathan is his arm. He has a really, really good arm. Like, I'm talking elite arm speed for the right side. I mean, you see lefties like with arm whip, but this kid just has like a lightning quick arm action. So I knew that there was definitely something there. The biggest thing in his delivery that we have talked about that he needs to fix, I'm going to explain that here in a second. But the biggest thing in his delivery that he needs to fix is something that completely works against his ability to use his strongest asset, which is his quick arm action, like I said. So this video is from a few years ago. I know it's not, great, but this is I'm just going to kind of at least show the tendency that he has, or I'm sorry, had. He's really done a good job to make the adjustment, but nonetheless, we're going to look at some old footage just to kind of use it as a reference. So if we're looking at when his foot gets in the ground, and it's kind of hard to see, I don't know if I can make this any bigger. That's all right. Try to make this a little bigger. That's it. All right, so we're going to look at when his foot gets in the ground for the first time, where it kind of like settles in. And it's about right. Maybe a frame before. Great. There somewhere. Okay. So it's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to draw on him. So you can see this right here. That's his arm kind of coming down. That's his glove side arm coming down right there. So if this is his midsection here, okay, glove arm coming down this way, so we're getting a lot of kind of pull into here. And then this right here, it's kind of hard to see. You'll see it in the next frame. You see his elbow start peeking out right there. So his arm basically has already started to pull in here, or up where you can see it. So essentially what we're looking at is, as he's going down the mound, as his foot's coming into the ground this way, everything up top is leaking in. So essentially hips go, shoulder goes, everything just goes all at once. There's really no position development. And you see that I see it, especially working with a lot of younger kids. That's kind of why I've had to teach kids to like almost backside stack, which, there's enough to be said about that on either side. But it's kind of like I teach these kids to almost distract what they're doing as they're going down the mound, just because if you rush down the mound altogether, arm flies, hips fly, glove flies, there's really no resistance, there's no ability to produce force or power that way. So I knew right away that was going to be the thing that we needed to address with him. So I want to look at this really fast. This is a little better footage. This clip, he doesn't do it nearly as bad in this clip, but still you can kind of see the tendency. And I mean, he's a dynamic athlete for sure, but as you kind of see that foot settling into the ground there, we're seeing early pull with that shoulder axis. We're there again, kind of in there with the glove, midsection there, you know, and that arm is right there. I mean, in a realistic sense, or in a perfect world, I guess I should say, we get that. I mean, that hip's turned pretty good, maybe a little bit of a crossfire, I can't really tell, but that shoulder axis is driving back behind him. I mean, that arm needs to stay loaded as long as possible. And the side view videos that I've taken of him show this a lot better. But anyway, looking at these reference videos, I knew that what I was seeing in the facility wasn't just something that was new. Like I said, these videos are a couple years old, so I found out that this was something that had been going on as a tendency that he'd had for a while. So looking at this was, and I know this video view isn't that great, but this is the only way I can video the iPad. So looking at that, so this is the video I was talking about when he came in, and I just said, all right, dude, I'm not going to tell you anything. I just want to see what you look like. I want to see who you are. Just show me what we're working with here. Initially, this was kind of the first thing I saw. There's really no reason to be up on his toe like that. That's just, I'm not too picky about how guys set up on the mound. You know, I have kind of general rules of being, you know, like neutral through here and neutral through our spine and chest, and being evenly distributed through here, that type of stuff. But as you can see right here, he's kind of got this thing where he's like up on his toe. That's just not a very balanced, evenly distributed position. I know it seems like a minuscule thing, but it's like if you start out even just with the slightest kind of discrepancy, that's going to work its way down the line and kind of come out somewhere. So we ditch that pretty quick. Let's see if I can get this to zoom just a little better. Here we go. Okay, so looking at this right here, you're gonna see, I mean, right about there, I'm like, okay, yeah, we need to get more into the leg here. You know, we're pretty much just still straight. Need to get kind of going here with the hips. Not much of that going on, not much acceleration. And he's one of these guys that likes to kind of prop up right here, as you can see, kind of likes to prop up on the rubber a little bit. I'm fine with that as long as it's not throwing him in any weird direction. But here's where things start to kind of happen. So, you know, you're thinking like, okay, pretty good. But he kind of comes like this. Gets toe to heel down here with his foot, which just creates an instability in itself. Need to be heel toe to kind of get that leg to be as firm as you want. And then, I mean, that foot's not even all the way in the ground yet, so we're going to look at it getting in the ground about right. There, I guess. Now you can see what I'm talking about. Shoulder axis there, arm pulling early back here. You know, I mean, I need to see him. I need to see him back in here with his arm still. You know, more flexion than that. Probably need to see him like right there. So I mean, the arm positioning isn't bad, but it's the fact that his shoulder axis is completely just started to leak. You know, there's no resistance there. So I mean, that starting position, I mean, when, you know, if his foot's in the ground there and he has all of that kind of distance to accelerate, he's going to just inherently move faster and more forceful. But You know, I kind of call it like the rubber band effect. The starting point of this position right here, boom, coming forward, is going to be some of the most powerful, you know. And we basically lost all of that because there's no resistance getting into the ground. It's all just kind of spun off. Now, as you see coming forward, look at when this foot gets in the ground to show fast. We said about right there. And I mean, it kind of looks like he's up on his toe still. So we've got this going there too soon. We kind of got this thing going on with his toe. And then we have essentially no backside drive or push. So I knew right away it was just a matter of getting him more dynamic down here and distracting the upper half. So the next two videos are actually of lessons after. I would say they were probably, I don't know, a month and a half apart, something like that. But what you're going to see here is him really making the adjustment, understanding what it means to push out underneath and distract up top. So we get this foot in the ground here. Look at that arm back behind him. Now, still kind of have this with the glove. In a perfect world, I still kind of see that arm in here with him still somewhere. He's kind of a lower glove guy, and not pulling off just because, I mean, but I'm more so looking at the shoulder axis. So I mean, if I take a line and draw it straight back to where his arm is, there we go. We got our line, and you're going to see in the other video that we've got even better backside push back there with his back foot. So really good job there. But like I said, in a perfect world, we keep this in just because it's kind of creating a little bit of that directional pull, and I want everything to be there as much as possible. But still, a really good adjustment. I mean, look at how much time his arm has to come through. I mean, you can just tell even looking at him in slow motion, it's like this kid moves like crazy. But it's a matter of, like I said, getting him to use it correctly. So here we go. Good video here now. One thing that you can see, even once we started and we kind of cleaned up where his foot was too, is if you go back and look at that other video, his toes kind of point out that way. And I mean, the farther away that heel creeps away from the mound in here, it just creates like an extra rotation that foot has to basically go from heel, turn over the toe, and then kick forward. And I mean, that ankle kind of kicking forward is what's going to go right up the line. It's going to go ankle, knee, and then that's going to push those hips through. So good adjustment there. But like you can see, once we kind of found that happy medium of getting up, getting back, but still accelerating forward, you can see we're starting to get some early movement. And we could get more, but like I said, there were other things we really needed to pick at first. We're getting into that leg more for sure. We can get more of it, but still a really good job making the adjustment. Now look at this. Foot really kind of settles like right. It's kind of hard to tell with those shoes he's wearing. We're going to say like close to right there, okay? Way better there. Way better right here. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about, and I've told him before. With this glove right here, with this glove kind of coming out, I mean, if you keep that front shoulder in, it pushes your back shoulder back. Like, your back shoulder's not coming forward if your front one's still, locked into place, essentially. There just needs to be a little more resistance with this from him. And he's going to be in an even better position. One thing that I told him, I said, hey, you know what? And I think he understands that. It's a lot easier said than done. But I've said, hey, you know what? If you kind of drive that glove that way, it's going to drive that back shoulder back. Arm's going to, stay back in here. And if you can do that all the while you're pushing yourself out quick down there, essentially the quicker you push here, it's going to leave your shoulders behind, which is what you want. He wants to push as hard as he can here, get this hip pushed through, distract this arm backwards, and now we've created hip and shoulder separation. Now we've got all this torque just built up through here, and then it's all going to come forward with his arm. But check this out. As he starts to go forward with the ball now, I mean, like I said, this was like a month and a half apart. I'm not exactly sure how long. I could go back and look at the dates. But look at what happens with his knee as he throws the ball. We're actually getting some ground reaction force. That knee's pushing back at him here. If you go back and look at that first towel rep, I mean, that knee was completely bent. And this foot back here was way later. So, I mean, just an all-around good job by him making all the adjustments. I mean, it's hard. But like I said, kid has elite arm speed. We just have to make his body work for him rather than making his arm work for his body. And he's going to be in good shape. Just got to keep getting stronger. He's going to mature over the next couple of years. He's only a freshman. So I'm excited to keep working with this kid because, like I said, it's one thing to have, natural ability and stuff like that, but I can't teach a kid to have a quick arm, which is something that he just has. So, I'm going to work to try to get him in for an on-site lesson, when I'm back this next week. Make sure I get video of him. I'm going to start doing remote stuff, for him so we can keep him dialed in and not lose any progress. So I'll have more footage of him, up in the next little while. All right. Thanks.